Okay, so what makes an AI webcam an AI webcam? And do we really need AI in everything? OBSBOT have very kindly sponsored this video and sent me out this Tiny 2 Lite webcam a few months ago now. They haven't told me what to say about it, and I've just been testing it for the last few months. And I wanted to share my experience with using a webcam that has AI capability. And I'm guessing you clicked on this video because you want to know, is it really worth buying an AI webcam? Well, first off, what makes it really different is the fact that it has auto tracking capability built in. So it can basically track your face or your upper body around with you as you're presenting on a video call. And you can get it to trigger to start and stop tracking you just with normal hand control gestures. And you can also hold out your hand and get it to zoom in and zoom out as well, all without touching the actual camera or going to any software. And it does all this by detecting your face and making sure your face is always in focus and properly exposed. It's all really nifty, and this one comes with a software package called the OBSBOT Center that pretty much lets you configure almost anything you could think to configure in a webcam, probably more than you ever needed. So let's start with the things that I really liked. So I really liked the auto tracking on it. I found it useful some of the time when at work I would be presenting something, and it just allowed me to be in the center of the frame at all times. Now granted, if you're just sitting down all day on video calls, this might not be too useful, but if you're presenting and you want to elevate your sense of presence online, I actually think this feature is really useful to create engaging professional content. But I do think there's a niche market for that particular feature. As cool as it is, day-to-day use of it, I think is fairly limiting if for the most part your webcam needs are fairly basic. You can also auto-frame groups of people in a shot, which I've not been able to test, but it definitely shows the versatility of having a webcam that can do more than just turn on and off. And of course, with this particular one, it's got a tripod mount on it as well at the bottom for events and conferences and things like that. And the gesture controls are really intuitive. It picks up on your hand movements quite quickly and makes controlling this thing a breeze. I think my number one favorite thing about this particular AI webcam, and I'm not even sure it's really an AI feature, is the fact it automatically turns off after a predefined period of time and turns on automatically when you jump back on a video call. That's a really cool privacy feature, which I really valued because I don't want a webcam just staring at me all day whilst I sit at my desk and work. So the fact that this thing auto shuts off might sound like a really minor thing, but I really appreciated it. You can also nicely mount it onto your monitor just by unfolding the bottom of it and adjusting it accordingly. And you can also have it lying flat on your desk as well. And the actual camera quality of this thing is notably better than your average webcam. And it should be at approximately $150. You'd want a camera that has lots and lots of different options, and this one definitely does. You can shoot at 4K at 30 frames per second or at 1080p at 60 frames per second. It also has HDR when you're on 30 frames per second. And the amount of customizability here in terms of actual camera control, you can control the ISO, you can control the shutter speed, or you can just leave it on autofocus, auto exposure, auto white balance. But you can really go to town. You can change the saturation level, the contrast level, the sharpness. You can retouch your face if you want to as well, which is another cool AI feature. Really appreciate the man beauty filter. I haven't tried it at work, but it looks cool. But there are a bunch of filters and other things you can do to customize the picture before you go online and speak to your colleagues. And it offers landscape and portrait mode, which probably tells you that this is also a webcam that's built for streaming. Carry around a little tripod with you, and suddenly you have yourself like a mini vlogging setup. The microphones on it are okay. It does also offer noise reduction. So this is the microphone quality. The noise reduction is currently on weak because I don't have any noise around me, but what's the microphone quality like for you? It's obviously not going to be as good as a studio mic, but is it passable for a video call online? I think the things I like the least about this is at times when I'm sitting down, sometimes I would accidentally auto trigger by just waving my arms when talking. I'd auto trigger the auto tracking, and then it would suddenly frame me in the center and it would show stuff behind me that I didn't necessarily want it to show. And I think for 80% of the time when I'm working, I've not really used a lot of the AI related features, although I've really appreciated using them for the 20% that I did actually need them. So there are a bunch of these AI webcams on the market at the moment, and the price is coming down to the point where you can pretty much pick this one up for $150. So even if your webcam needs are really basic, they're now becoming more appealing just because of the quality of them and some of the additional features that you might not use all the time, but they're just nice to have for those times where you might need them. Honestly, if I wanted a really really good webcam with good image quality that had good privacy features, I'd probably still buy something like this for 150 bucks and just accept the fact that these AI features, which I'm not always going to use, are there when I want to use them. I will say they're a fantastic conversation starter when you are talking to people. It certainly has elevated my presence at work. The image is sharper, I'm always in the center of the frame. Every time it powers on, it goes exactly to the point in which I've set it to, so it doesn't automatically center me, it goes exactly to the angle I want it to go to. And I feel like when I'm not on calls, it's not watching me, and I feel like that's also really important. Anyway, thanks again for OBSBOT for sponsoring this video. Once again, they haven't told me to say anything, they've just sent me this out, and I've been using it for the last few months. The link to this particular model with a discount code is in the description box below. And if you got some value from this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you want to stay productive, a sub to this channel would be awesome. Until the next time, stay productive.